So solar water heating, we put these in about 10 years ago, and the technology was just so much farther advanced than photovoltaics were. So it was cheaper. We did get a pretty quick return on investment with solar hot water. Right at 7 years, it started paying for itself just with the volume of water that goes through this dining hall. So we're a well-based system here. So the water comes out of the ground at about 55 degrees. And usually when you're using water in a residential setting, you want it to be at about 120. These water heaters on a cloudy day in the summer, which is actually when they're least efficient, will get the water up to about 90 degrees. And then on a clear day in the winter, we're not using any natural gas or propane. We're actually limiting it at 120 degrees. Absolutely, for 3 meals a day and running the dishwashers and all the prep cooking, with a 3-tank system like this, we generate more than enough. The controller that runs this actually has it running just a few hours a day in peak season sometimes. So the maintenance is fairly straightforward. There aren't a lot of moving parts with a solar hot water system. Once a year, we'll have someone come in and make sure that our glycol levels are correct and they might recharge the system. Other than that, as long as it doesn't give us an error message, it's kind of set in on its own. I would recommend a drain back system and make sure that it's a closed loop system just for efficiency's sake, but really it's pretty minimal. So really it's part of their onboarding. When the first time they walk into our dining hall, they're going to see this and we'll address that and just let them know that we are using solar hot water. Once we have a little bit more time with them in program, we do offer a sustainable futures class and a focus. So we'll go a little bit more in depth. We have things like cutaways of the solar panels that we can teach them a little bit more of the intricacies of the system. But really it's just exposure that the hot water that they use in their cabins and while they're here is all heated by the sun, and showing them they're already making a difference just by being here at camp. So the first thing is just going to be really look at your needs. You don't want to heat more water than you need, just like you don't want to generate more electricity than you need. And so what are your needs? What's your solar horizon? And what are some creative ways that you could pay for a system, knowing that it's going to take about 7 years to pay back? So here we have our inflow coming from the solar panels. It's the insulated part so we don't lose much heat. And then it's going to drop down into the big cylinders, and you'll see where it goes in, follow the red arrows, and then it winds down in a corkscrew, warming the coolest water, and then comes back out on its way to the solar collector. And it's going to run through a pump, and we have some pressure gauges, just make sure everything's running the way it should. That little gray box is the controller or the computer that tells it when to come on, when to turn off, and right above that we have a pressure tank just because things expand when they get warm. Then it's on its way back to the collector and starts the whole cycle over again.